Did you know that on Christmas Day in 1875, a black state senator named Charles Caldwell was invited for a friendly drink by a white friend, Buck Cabell? But what began as a seemingly innocent gathering turned into a violent tragedy. Threatened for his political activism, Caldwell defied his wife's warnings and joined Cabell. As they raised their glasses in a toast, a shot rang out, and Caldwell fell to the floor. Surrounded by armed white men, he made a brave final declaration before succumbing to his wounds. This chilling event sheds light on the racial tensions and violence that characterized the era, illustrating the stark challenges faced by black leaders like Charles Caldwell.
So what were Charles Caldwell's famous last words? I'll tell you at the end of this video. But first, I think we need to understand a little bit more about this man and this man's life. So Charles Caldwell, who was a former slave in the area of Clinton, Mississippi, which was about 12 miles outside of Jackson, Mississippi in Hinds County, rose to prominence after working as a blacksmith in Clinton, Mississippi, and became a state senator as well as becoming a county commissioner before he was assassinated. He was one of the delegates in the 1868 Constitutional Convention for the state of Mississippi. And he held position to the point where when the Clinton riots began to happen, when the Clinton riots happened in Mississippi, that the governor of Mississippi at that time, Albert Ames, who was a white man, sent down a militia to take charge of the situation and put Charles Caldwell in charge of that militia that was instructed to put down and stop the rioting that had happened in the Clinton riots. Now, what were the Clinton riots? The Clinton riots was a gathering of over 3,000 African Americans during the voting cycle, and during that time frame, a riot broke out where white Democrats began to attack the black Republicans in that area. Now, I'm not trying to make a political statement. I'm not saying that you should join one party or the other. Let me make that clear. This is just what the situation is and what the truth was, what the truth is. But on that night of the riot, several white men were killed, but an estimated 50 black people were killed, including school teachers, women, as well as church leaders and other people who were organizers of the Republican event. The reason why there was so much anger at this time frame, this is during the Reconstruction era. And during Reconstruction, many people don't realize that many former slaves took public office and were winning by landslides simply because the overwhelming majority of the population in the South were black. And although voter suppression was ongoing, it got so rampant during the late 1800s that the militias had to be called in, because during the Clinton riots, trainloads of other white people were coming into Clinton, Mississippi, in order to attack black voters over and over again. So because of his political stance on the right to vote, he was called into this meeting. He went to this meeting. His friend Caleb Cabal was not trying to set him up, as far as we know. But he didn't have to. Just being in that public environment set the stage for these other people in 1878, because of what Charles Caldwell stood for, caused them to unalive this man. And his famous last words, after he was assassinated, is that and according to the story, he stood up from the gunshot wound, straightened out his clothing, showing dignity, and told his assailants, "Remember, when you kill me, you kill a gentleman and a brave man. Never say that you killed a coward. I want you to remember that when I'm gone." This has been some little known Black history. I hope that it helps. And if you're from Mississippi, I have a question. Were you ever taught this? And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.